What's going on, guys? Matty G back here with you on Football at Flags. Thanks so much for joining us as always. Today's video is our top 5 potential upsets for the 2024 Euro group stage. Now you might be asking, what are you going to consider an upset specifically? Well, one thing that we really took into consideration was that teams had to have at least 15 spots in between them in the FIFA World Rankings, and that's a bit tough, especially for this European field, because out of the top 30 spots in the FIFA World Rankings right now, Europe hold 16 of them. So you're not going to see some teams that are maybe a bit closer together, but that you would still consider an upset if the lower ranked team were to go on and beat them or take a draw out of the game. These at least had to have 15 spots in between them, and that was really something that we wanted to focus on in terms of making these 5 picks. So sit back and join us as we take you through these decisions and see who we've got in the video. Now, our first potential upset, we've got Germany taking on Scotland, and this is the opening fixture for the tournament, which is going to be super important because obviously Germany want to come out, get a good showing in front of their home fans right away. Scotland wanting to try and get some points on the board, really help themselves out in the group stage going forward, especially considering a third place spot obviously being open for everyone as well. But Scotland have not won a game in the Euro since 1996. That does not bode well for them. But at the same time, this is a new team, a new era, a new opportunity for them altogether. For Germany, they have won 3 of their last 5 openers in the Euros. But keep in mind, Germany have actually lost 5 games and drawn 2 in their last 11. Really, really disappointing for this side, which we know to be such a European dominant powerhouse. Obviously, they've gone through the change between Hansi Flick now to Nagelsmann in terms of managerial status, different things like that. Germany have turned it around a little bit, though. They did defeat France and Netherlands here recently in a couple of games. But for Scotland, I think this is just super important for them because they did go 5-2-1 in qualifying. They defeated Norway and Spain, which were 2 very impressive victories in my opinion. And I really think that if you look at just the roster as a whole, I think that they could really compete very well with Germany if they just put in a good shift for 90 minutes. I'd really like to see that left-hand side of their starting lineup potentially see John McGinn, Andy Robertson, and maybe Kieran Tierney as well. I think those 3 up the left-hand flank would be super, super important. Obviously, McGinn could maybe go inside a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. But then, again, when you add McTominay, Christie, Dykes, and others, I think the Scotland side really have a good chance to maybe potentially spoil the party for the hosts. Next up, we have France taking on Austria, and these two have met fairly recently. They were in the same group for the last cycle of the Nations League. Austria did pick up a draw against France during that time. France still dominated both of those games pretty much statistically, and France did come out with a victory in the other game as well. But still, Austria have had some impressive wins over Germany and Italy in the past year and a half or so. They defeated Sweden twice in their Euro qualifying group as well and finished just 1 point behind Belgium altogether after that entire cycle was up. A key important notion for me in this is obviously just how in good of form France are in terms of their attacking ability. Obviously we know the plethora of options that they have, but are they going to be able to finish? How many good opportunities are they going to be able to create, especially if Austria try and pack it in, really kind of overload the midfield, which they potentially could if they go up playing a 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-1-1. A big question for me though is, where is Alaba going to play? Is he going to be more in as a center back, play out as the left back, or maybe push up a little bit more forward for Austria? I would certainly like to see them play a bit more conservative in the back with a few more numbers in the midfield, just to maybe give him the option to explore going up the field more to help out Arnautovic and others in that Austrian attack. I just think he would be super important to be able to use him throughout the entire field more so than just a defensive role, or maybe have him start out as a defensive role and then look to go forward as the game progresses if it's still tied, or maybe they take a lead at some point, potentially like that. But again, a very, very promising fixture in this group. Next up, we have Turkey going up against Portugal. Now, we did consider Czechia as a potential upset as well, considering they are in the same group, but thought that Turkey might be a bit more of an upset and really could put on a great showing against Portugal, in my opinion. They did win their table for Euro qualifying, defeating Croatia by a point in that group. Defeated Czech recently as well, 2-1. They've also had recent results against Germany and Croatia, which I find very impressive as well. This is their 3rd straight appearance The last win, though, that they had was in 2016. They had a very, very poor showing in 2020, really not collecting anything, and I think only just scoring a goal as well in the group stage in that regard. So again, I think there's a lot on the line for redemption-wise for this team as well. What can they put together? I think if they can throw Portugal off their game a bit, depending on the options and decisions made for Portugal in the attacking third as well, whether it's Ronaldo, Leao, Gomez, others, whoever they have maybe up front. Can they put pressure on Turkey, or can Turkey kind of push them off their game a bit, maybe slow things down, create some havoc, force some turnovers, different things like that? But I really do like Turkey as an opportunity to maybe win this game. Fourth on this list, and maybe the farthest stretch in terms of a potential upset, we'll have to wait and see, is Belgium taking on Romania. Now, Romania is seeking their first win since 2000 in the Euros. Their last appearance was in 2016. They put up a good fight against France in the opener. Stanku scored a penalty in the second half before Payet finally put one in the back of the net late for France to take that game 2-1, but still an impressive result. Their last win was against England 3-2. Way back when, but for them against this side, again, it's hard to tell because I don't think a lot of people know too much about Romania's side either, but considering Belgium, some of the poor performances they've had of late, especially with their group stage in the World Cup, not getting out of that group, the fact that this team still has no major titles after the amount of talent that they have been able to put on the field for years here is certainly very disappointing. Obviously, the turmoil that has happened within this camp at different times as well, could that continue to spill over? What's this roster going to look like? Are they going to be healthy going forward? A lot of questions still to really ask with Belgium, and especially too, I think their back line. In my opinion, I think they're pretty young, fairly inexperienced, not quite the names that you see maybe in the midfield or in the attacking third with this side that usually are getting the ball forward, creating great chances, and putting on a spectacular performance. I think that's something that they could certainly exploit. Romania in this game, we'll have to wait and see. But keep in mind, too, Romania won their Euro qualifying group with 22 points. They finished first above Switzerland by 5 points in the table, so a very impressive result. They went 6-4-0 in qualifying. Definitely, I think it's going to be tough for sure for them to get past Belgium, but still a great opportunity for them to go up against one of these giants who have just not been able to get it done. Last on this list, we have Denmark taking on Slovenia, and these two sides have met fairly recently. They were in the same group for Euro qualifying. They tied 1-1 in their opening fixture, and then Denmark on the back end wound up winning 2-1. Denmark dominated in a good portion of both of these games. They switched to a 5-3-2 in their second fixture, which I think allowed them to be a bit sturdier in the back, kind of control the game a bit more. And Denmark, again, I think still were very impressive in those games. But for Slovenia, can they piggyback off the fact that Denmark had a very poor performance in the 2022 World Cup? Obviously, we know what Denmark did in the Euros 3.5 years ago. A very impressive run, got to the semifinals before losing to England. But can they recreate that magic? It's going to be a lot of questions asked. Obviously, we'll see who's on this roster as well. But for Slovenia, they've had impressive wins over Portugal and the United States recently, both friendlies, but still great results for them, and they're still seeking their first ever Euro win. Now, this is the first time they've been in a major tournament since the 2010 World Cup. The last time that they were in the Euros was 2000, so certainly a great time for Slovenia and a great opportunity. We know about some previous darlings that we've had in some major tournaments over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, different things like that. I think Slovenia could potentially be one of those, at least in the group stage, maybe get out in third in the group. We'll have to wait and see. But again, I think that this could be a great pivotal moment for them to piggyback, because they, again, know Denmark pretty well from those two qualifying games. Can they improve off of those and maybe pick up a result here? Certainly, guys, let us know down in the comments as well your own top 5 in terms of upsets, maybe some other games that you think we left out that you would certainly consider as well, but being potential upsets. But some others that we also like to put in here just as a kind of honorable mention is England taking on Serbia. Now, usually England do take care of their business, at least recently in the group stage, in my opinion. They have had a couple of hiccups in years past, but Serbia had an impressive run in World Cup qualifying a few years ago, forcing Portugal to the playoff, and as they won that group and getting automatic qualification, I think that they could certainly give England a run for their money, being physical, dominant, being tough on the ball as well. Keep an eye out for Croatia against Albania. I think this is huge for Albania, just their opportunity to be in this tournament, and against another side like Croatia, I think this is a great chance for them to go up against them and maybe get some points, considering that they've got Italy and Spain as well in this group, so it's going to be tough all the way through. And then last but not least, Netherlands taking on Poland. Now remember, Netherlands did get dropped out in the last Euros in the round of 16 to Czech Republic. Poland can be up and down at times, but if Lewandowski and others can really put in a good shift, Szczesny as well, I think that Poland have a great chance to maybe upset the Dutch in this fixture as well. Well guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We're certainly got more content coming your way. I know it's been a bit slow as of late, but really trying to push this forward even more so in the next couple months, considering all the stuff that's going on with major tournaments and other things as well around the international games. So make sure you stick with us if you haven't already. Certainly appreciate all your support. Make sure you let us know down in the comments as well your own upsets and things like that, like we mentioned. Until next time guys, we'll see you soon. Peace.